Hello. Christianity teaches lawlessness, but sin is lawlessness. They teach Torah is abolished, but is it? Christianity teaches us that all we have to do is believe. We don't have to obey any laws. Is that true? The truth is, it's not good enough to know about Yahuwah or just to believe in Yahuwah. We have to know Him and get to know Him on a personal basis, in a relationship type setting, similar to a husband and wife. In other words, if you get married to your husband or your wife, and is that all that you're going to do? Is know that they exist and live in the same house you do and share the bills? Of course not. You're going to get to know each other. You're going to be in a relationship. This is the same type of relationship Yahuwah is looking for in those who seek His face and wish to worship Him in spirit and truth. Matter of fact, obedience is the highest form of worship. So obedience to His Torah is how we worship and get to know Him better. There's only one Torah. The same Torah was written in His creation. They're written in space. They're written in our conscience. We're given a moral compass. We know what is right and what is wrong. Only when we refuse to acknowledge our moral compass is when we disobey or we don't believe in Yahuwah. As long as we obey and follow our moral compass, then by default we believe in Yahuwah. That's the way He made us. So even without any written law, our moral compass or our conscience guides us in the path of righteousness. The written Torah or the Tanakh does the same thing. The Messiah, Yahushua Mashiach, does the same thing. It's all the one Torah. Whether it's written in creation, written in our conscience or our minds, written down in the Tanakh in a language that we can read and study, or if it's written down on our hearts by the Messiah. It's all the same. It's all the same Torah. There's only one Torah. Actually, the Messiah living in us is what's really in our heart. Since He's the living Torah and He's living in us, it's written on our heart because He's living in us. We're His temple. But it's all the same Torah. So the people that lived before the knowledge of Yahuwah or Yahusha, or even before the written law that was written on the tablets of stone given to Moses, or any handwritten scrolls. We had the Torah. It was written in creation and in our DNA. our subconscious mind as a moral compass. Everybody knows it's wrong to steal, or wrong to beat somebody up, or wrong to murder, or wrong to rape, or wrong to disobey your parents, or it's wrong to carve images that don't see, walk, or smell, or hear, and bow down to them and worship them. We know, everybody knows that. It's written in our conscious minds. It's written in the creation. Just watching nature, we know what is righteous and what is wrong. It's all the same Torah. No matter where we find the testimony, it's all the same. There's only one Torah. Let's do a scriptural-based study about legalism and illegalism. Let's learn what's lawful or righteous and what's lawless or wrong. So we'll turn strictly to Scripture on this. We don't want to leave any doubts, because lawlessness is sin. And lawlessness is what's going to convict us into eternal annihilation and get us thrown into the lake of fire, which is the second death. There will be weeping and gnashing of the teeth, folks. So this is very, very important to know. We'll start within the book of Matthew and try to get through this fairly quickly. Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. For truly I say to you, till the heaven and the earth pass away, one jot or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so shall be called least in the reign of the Shemayim, but whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of the Shemayim. So that right there, pretty plain, that Yahushua didn't come to annul or abolish the Torah. Matter of fact, he knew all the laws in the entire creation. He knew every single one of them, and he kept every single one of them. His righteousness in us is what justifies us through belief in his atonement sacrifice and his resurrection from the dead. Not everyone who says to me, and this is Yahushua talking, not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the reign of the Shemayim, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the Shemayim. Many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty works in your name? Then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. this is fairly clear that this prophecy by Yahuwah for the end times sounds like around his second coming here, is someone or group of people who believe in him, but apparently they must have been calling on the wrong name, because they said that they prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done mighty works in your name. Well, he says, I didn't know you. Depart from me, you who work with lawlessness. So two things stand out. They must have been not calling on his real name, because he didn't hear them calling him. And the second thing is that apparently they weren't being obedient to the Torah. Because he called them lawless. He said, depart from me, you who work lawlessness. So apparently they weren't obeying the 10 Commandments, and they were calling on the wrong name. It's very interesting. Stay in Matthew for a little bit here. Then, having sent the throngs away, Yahushua went into the house, and his Talmudim, or students, came to him, saying, explain to us the parable of the darnel of the field. And he answering said to them, he who is sowing the good seed is the son of Adam, and the field is the world. And the good seed, these are the sons of the rain, but the darnel are the sons of the wicked one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. And the harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the messengers. As the darnel then is gathered and burned in the fire, so it shall be at the end of this age. The Son of Adam shall send out his messengers, and they shall gather out of his reign all the stumbling blocks, which are strongholds and false reasonings, men's doctrines, and those doing lawlessness, and shall throw them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. The reapers are removing the darnel first, not the wheat. Then the upright shall shine forth as the sun in the reign of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. So among the throngs, there are obedient ones obeying the Torah, his Torah. Whether they're obeying it written down in the 10 Commandments or they're obeying it in their conscience, okay, they're still obeying it, apparently, because they're going to be left alone. But the lawless, those doing lawlessness, which aren't obeying the Torah, they're going to be gathered up by the reapers and thrown in the fire, lake of fire. Pretty obvious there, folks. All right, let's just go ahead and stick right with Matthew here for a while yet. Woe to you, scribes and Prushim, or Pharisees, you hypocrites, because you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly indeed look well, but inside are filled with dead men's bones and all uncleanness. So you too outwardly indeed appear righteous to men, but inside you are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness. So here, all this dressed up, clean shaven, shiny shoes, suits, behavior that appears to be piousness, better than other people, might fool men or some women or some children, but it ain't fooling Yahuwah. He sees through all that. He sees the heart. For then there shall be a great distress. It's talking about the tribulation years. For then there shall be a great distress, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time. No, nor ever shall be. And if those days were not shortened, no flesh would be delivered. But for the sake of the chosen ones, these days shall be shortened. That means the elect are going to be around, but they're not going to be, suffering. They're going to be teaching others the way, the truth, and about Yahusha. So some of the lawless will be taught by the elect in the end times. Maybe they'll stop being lawless then and start obeying. Okay. Then the reign of the Shemayim shall be compared to 10 maidens who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise and 5 foolish. Those who were foolish, having taken their lamps, took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their jars with their lamps. Now while the bridegroom took time, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight a cry was heard, "See, the bridegroom is coming, go out to meet him." Then all those maidens rose up and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, "Give us your oil, because our lamps are going out." But the wise answered, saying, "No way, there would not be enough for us and you. Instead, go to those who sell and buy for yourselves." And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him in the wedding feast, and the door was shut. And later the maidens also came, saying, "Master, Master, open up for us." But he answering said, "Truly I say to you, I do not know you." So this is basically describing 10 virgins that fell asleep or died, and then they were resurrected, and Yahusha comes back, and 5 of them died, were the elect. They had the spirit of Yahusha in them when they died, and they were obedient, obeying Torah, and so they were resurrected and were allowed into the wedding feast. The other 5 that did not have Yahusha's spirit in them was resurrected. They weren't allowed in because they were lawless. And where it says, "Go to those who sell and buy for yourself," that could be in reference to the wolves in sheep clothing that are selling the word of truth, but under disguise. They're actually selling you misinformation or falsehood. Really you're not getting your money's worth. In other words, you're not getting the truth, you're getting falsehood, and you're paying them to teach you the falsehood. Okay, so let's hit 2 Timothy. See what that's got to say about it. Bear with me while I flip through the pages here, if you will. But know this, that in the last days hard times shall come. For men shall be lovers of self, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, thankless, wrongdoers, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, fierce, haters of good, betrayers, reckless, puffed up, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of Yahuwah, having a form of reference but denying its power, and turn away from these. That sounds like a pretty good definition of lawlessness to me. Proclaim the word, be urgent in season and out of season. Correct, warn, appeal, with all patience and teaching. For there shall be a time when they shall not bear sound teaching, but according to their own desires they shall heap up for themselves teachers tickling the ear, and they shall indeed turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to myths. That's probably the 5 unwise versions. Just jump over to Ephesians. See what that's got to say. For this you know, that no one who whores, nor unclean one, nor one greedy of gain, who is an idolater, has any inheritance in the reign of Mashiach and Yahuwah. Let no one deceive you with empty words. For because of these, the wrath of Yahuwah comes upon the sons of disobedience. Disobedience is lawlessness. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians, and says, as for the coming of our Master Yahuwah, Yahusha Mashiach, and our gathering together to him, we ask you, brothers, not to become easily unsettled in mind or troubled, either by ruach or by word or by letter, as if from us, as if the day of Yahuwah has come. Let no one deceive you in any way, because the falling away is to come first, and the man of lawlessness is to be revealed, the son of destruction, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worship, so that he sets as Yahuwah in the temple of Yahuwah, showing himself that he is Yahuwah. So he'll be an identity thief, and he will definitely be lawless. He's not going to be keeping the Torah. Do you not remember that I told you this while I was still with you? And now you know who restrains for him to be revealed in his time. For the secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now restrains comes out of the midst. So the lawless one is the controller or the restrainer, and the secret of lawlessness is basically, in a nutshell, is all you have to do is believe. You don't have to obey any laws. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to nothing with the manifestation of his coming. The appearing of the lawless one is by means of the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with all deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth, in order for them to be delivered. And for this reason, Yahuwah sends them a working of delusion, for them to believe the falsehood, or the froster, or the impostor, or the lawless one, in order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, but have delighted in lawlessness. They delighted in lawlessness. You're going to perish. Alrighty, so I think that's enough evidence. It's not a complete list. It's not an exhaustive list by any means, but I think it's enough proof that we should be starting to understand at this point that if you are lawless, if you are not obeying Torah, okay, and you're living a lawless lifestyle, you're going to perish into the lake of fire, which is the second death. I think it's pretty plain at this point, folks. Let's take a look at flip to the other side of the coin, and let's get a look at basically, you know, what obedience is, I guess, you know. So, in James, so also belief, if it does not have works, is in itself dead. So, yeah, you can't just, it's like we said earlier, it's not good enough just to know about Yahuwah or to know about Yahusha, just to believe that he came and died. Okay, we have to know him on a personal, deep level, as in a marriage relationship. Okay, so also belief, if it does not have works, is in itself dead. So in order for your belief to be animated, then you have to, it has to be some action involved. And so those works would be your obedience. But so obedience would prove your belief, in other words. But someone might say, you have belief and I have works. Show me your belief without your works, which you can't do, and I shall show you my belief by my works. In other words, his works is proving his belief. If you don't have any works with your belief, then you have no proof that you believe. It's just worthless words. You believe that Elohim is one, you do well. The demons also believe and shudder or tremble. I'm going to jump over to 2 Peter. This is very important here. Listen closely. But the day of Yahuwah shall come as a thief in the night, in which the sky shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall be burned up. Seeing all these are to be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be in set-apart behavior and reference? Well, I would say best be lawful. Now, looking for and hastening the coming of the day of Elohim, through which the skies or heaven shall be destroyed, being set on fire, and the elements melt with intense heat. Wow. Ready? And by this we know that we know him, if we guard his commands. The one who says, I know him, and does not guard his commands is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoever guards his word, truly the love of Yahuwah has been perfected in him. By this we know that we are in him. The one who says he lives in him ought himself also to walk even as he walked. And the way he walked was in obedience to the Torah. The one who says he is in the light and hates his brother is in the darkness until now. The one who loves his brother stays in the light, and there is no stumbling block in him. So your love proves your obedience to the law or the Torah as well, because Torah teaches you how to love. So if you're loving your brother, you're obeying the Torah, or you wouldn't be loving him, because that's what the Torah teaches, is love. And everyone having this expectation in him cleanses himself as he is clean. Everyone doing sin also does lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him there is no sin. Everyone staying in him does not sin. Everyone sinning has neither seen him nor known him. So if you're being disobedient or lawless, you don't know him. In this the children of Yahuwah and the children of the devil are manifest. Everyone not doing righteousness is not of Yahuwah. Righteousness is obeying the Torah. Neither the one not loving his brother. Because this is the message that you heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. So if you love one another, you're obeying the Torah. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear holds punishment, and he who fears has not been made perfect in love. By this we know that we love the children of Yahuwah. We're your brother. When we love Yahuwah and guard his commands. For this is the love for Yahuwah, that we guard his commands, and his commands are not difficult. Because everyone having been begotten of Yahuwah overcomes the world. And this is the overcoming that has overcome the world, our belief, which is established with works or obedience to the Torah. Otherwise, it's just a word, so you don't even have belief then. This is the one that came by water and blood, Yahushua Mashiach, not only by water, but by water and blood. And it is the Ruach who bears witness, because the Ruach is the truth. Because there are three who bear witness, the Ruach, and the water, and the blood. And the three are in agreement. The three are in agreement to be obedient to the Torah. And they also are in agreement that Yahusha is Yahuwah incarnated. Just flip over to Romans. For since the creation of the world, his invisible qualities have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, both his everlasting power and mightiness, for them to be without excuse. Because, although they knew Yahuwah, they did not esteem him as Yahuwah, nor gave thanks, but became vain in their reasonings, and their undiscerning heart was darkened. So they stopped obeying him or giving him thanks or even acknowledging him, basically. Do you not know that to whom you present yourselves servants for obedience, you are servants of the one whom you obey, whether of sin to death or of obedience to righteousness? So, obedience to the Torah is righteousness. That's what righteousness means. If you are a servant of sin, then you're lawless or disobedient to death. You're heading for the lake of fire, which is the second death. Okay, let's go over to Mark. And one of the scribes coming near, hearing them reasoning together, knowing that he had answered them well, asked him, which is the foremost command of all? And Yahusha answered him, the first of all the commands is, Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim. Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your mind and with all your strength. This is the foremost command. And the second like it is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other command greater than these. So if you're obeying the Torah, you learn to love your neighbor and Yahuwah. No other greater commands. And the scribe said to him, Well said, teacher, you have spoken the truth, for there is one Elohim, and there is no other besides him. And to love him with all the heart and with all the understanding and with all the being and with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as yourself, is more than all the burnt offerings and offerings. And when Yahusha saw that he answered wisely, he said to him, You are not far from the reign of Yahuwah. And after that, no one was bold enough to question him. So, since this guy was being obedient and lawful, and had learned to love, he had a good understanding of the Torah, and he knew that it taught him how to love Yahuwah and his neighbor. And so Yahusha said, man, you're close to, you're on your way to the kingdom, buddy, because he was being lawful. I'm going to flip over here to Galatians. For the entire Torah is completed in one word. In this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Same thing is basically what we just read. And if you bite and devour one another, beware lest you be consumed by one another. And I say, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not accomplish the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh. And these are opposed to each other, so that you do not do what you desire to do. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under Torah. And the works of the flesh are well known, which are adultery, whoring, uncleanness, indecency, idolatry, drug sorcery, hatred, quarrels, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambitions, dissensions, factions, envy, murders, drunkenness, wild parties, and the like, of which I forewarn you, even as I also said before, that those who practice such as these shall not inherit the reign of Yahuwah. But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trustworthiness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no Torah. And those who are of Mashiach have staked the flesh with its passions and the desires. If we live in the Ruach, let us also walk in the Ruach. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, or envying one another. So there you go, folks. The fruits of being lawful and the fruits of being lawless. It's in Galatians 5. Alright, let's jump over here and take a look at Psalms. Psalms 91. Because he cleaves to me in love, therefore I deliver him. I set him on high. Clings to me in love. That means he's obeying the Torah, right? That's the love of Yahuwah, to obey his commands. Because he has known my name. When he calls on me, I answer him. I am with him in distress. I deliver him and esteem him. With long life I satisfy him and show him my deliverance. It's pretty plain there. Malachi. Then shall those who fear Yahuwah speak to one another, and Yahuwah listen and hear, and a book of remembrance be written before him of those who fear Yahuwah. If you fear him, you're going to be obeying him. And those who think upon his name, his true name. And they shall be mine, said Yahuwah, Zabuath, on the day that I prepare a treasured possession. And I shall spare them as a man spares his own son who serves him. Then you shall again see the difference between the righteous, the lawful, and the wrong, the lawless. Between one who serves Elohim, one who serves him is the one obeying the Torah, and one who does not serve him, the lawless ones. Isaiah. The earth shall mourn and wither, the world shall languish and wither, the haughty people of the earth shall languish. For the earth has been defiled under its inhabitants, because they have transgressed the Torah, changed the law, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore a curse shall consume the earth, and those who dwell in it be punished. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth shall be burned, and few men shall be left. They threw out the Torah, instructions of love, and now they're lawless. That's why he's going to burn everything up. They're violating the universal laws of love. They pitched them to the dustbin of iniquity. Got rid of the instructions of love. Where are we at? Let's go to, well, let's look at Jeremiah real quick. O Yahuwah, my strength and my stronghold and my refuge, in the day of distress, or the tribulation years, the Gentiles shall come to me, come to you from the ends of the earth, and say, our fathers have inherited only falsehood, futility, and there is no value in them. Would a man make mighty ones for himself, which are not mighty ones? Therefore, see, I am causing them to know. This time I cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahuwah. This right here seems to be suggesting that he's going to overlook some ignorance. You don't know all the laws, so if you're breaking some of them out of ignorance, or unintentionally, or you don't know his true name, you know, he may be overlooking ignorance on a lot of that stuff. So, but those with the Torah, the written Torah, okay, they're held more accountable. They've sinned more than the ones that don't have the Torah, because they're living strictly by their conscience and creation, okay? Where if you have this, you're living by creation, your conscience, and a written evidence. So you're held more accountable. You're a bigger sinner. You've sinned more because you know more laws. So you'll be held more accountable. So you better get to know Yahushua HaMashiach and his righteousness in you. Will help you out, help you be obedient to the Torah. Let's go to John. John 3:16. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, so that everyone who believes in him should not perish but possess everlasting life. We don't stop reading there. That's where the cherry pickers cut you off. They don't want you going past that. So let's go past that a little bit. For Elohim did not send his Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world through him might be delivered. He who believes in him is not judged, but he who does not believe is judged already, because he did not believe in the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim. And this is the judgment, that the light had come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their works were wicked. They were lawless. They didn't want to be lawful. They didn't want to obey Yahuwah's Torah. They wanted to be lawless. For everyone who's practicing evil hates the light and does not come to the light, lest their work should be exposed. But the one practicing the truth comes to the light, so that his works are clearly seen, that they have been confirmed in Elohim. Okay, so yeah, he sees them being lawful because they're in the light. For he who Elohim has sent speaks the words of Elohim. For Elohim does not give the Ruach by measure. The Father loves the Son and has given all into his hand. And he who believes in the Son possesses everlasting life. But he who does not believe or does not obey the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Elohim remains on him. So you better obey the Son. You better be obeying the Torah. The Son's the Torah. Let's go to Revelation 22. Or 21, I'm sorry. And he who was sitting on the throne said, See, I make all things new. And he said to me, Write, for these words are true and trustworthy. And he said to me, It is done. I am the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end. To the one who thirsts I shall give of the fountain of the water of life without payment. The one who overcomes shall inherit all this, and I shall be his Yahuwah, and he shall be my son. But as for the cowardly and untrustworthy and abominable and murderers and those who whore and drug sorcerers and idolaters and all the false, their part is in the lake which burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. I am the leaf and the taw, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs to the tree of life, and to enter through the gates into the city. But outside are the dogs, and those who enhance with drugs, and those who whore, and the murderers, and the idolaters, and all who love and do falsehood, 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 falsehood. So there you go. That pretty much completes our study on law, being lawful and lawless people. I think it's pretty clear, folks. You know, the Torah didn't go anywhere. You know, it's in creation. It's in our conscious mind. It's our moral compass. It's in our, if you have Yahusha indwelling you, it's written in your heart because he's in there helping you obey. We'll put the flesh to rest. It's written down in the Tanakh, the memoirs of the first followers. It's evidence of Yahushua HaMashiach's life, death, burial, resurrection. You have no excuse. Lawlessness is sin. Lawlessness will lead you down the wide road of the world into the lake of fire, which is the second death. There will be wailing and gnashing of the teeth, folks. This is serious. Being lawful or obedient to the Torah of Yahuwah, whether you have the written copies or not, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't have the written copies, you're a Torah unto yourself. If you have Yahusha indwelling in you, you are a walking letter or a walking Torah, because he's inscribed them into your heart. So you're carrying them around like you're the Ark of the Covenant, carrying around the Torah or the covenant of love inside of you. So, you know, there's no excuse. If you're lawful and you're obedient to Yahuwah, okay, it confirms your belief, establishes your belief. It's evidence that you have the spirit of Yahuwah, Yahusha indwelling you, because you're able to love your brother and even your enemies. So if you love, you're obeying the Torah, or you wouldn't be able to love. It's impossible without obeying the laws, because they teach you how to love. So if you're being obedient or lawful, you're on the straight and narrow path that leads you through the narrow gate into eternity, paradise, everlasting love with Yahuwah, in an everlasting loving relationship with Yahuwah. Thank you for watching. Peace and love to everybody. And remember to stay in love with Yahushua HaMashiach. So long, Nazarene, beloved of Yahuwah. Yahushua, living water. As a bonus, as a reminder, there's only one Torah. So the law or the Torah cannot be abolished. Because in order to abolish the Torah, we would have to get rid of creation itself. Heaven and earth would have to go away, because the Torah is written in its creation. The people would have to go away, because the Torah is written in our conscious mind as a moral compass. The scriptures themselves the Tanakh, the Torah of Moses, the prophets, the writings, the Nazarene writings would all have to go away. Yahushua Mashiach would have to go away. Because he's the living Torah, incarnated. So in order for all, since the Torah is one, there's only one Torah, all that would have to go away in order for the law to be abolished. The next time somebody tells you, all you have to do is believe, you don't have to obey because the law was abolished, and you're going to know that they're feeding you a bunch of falsehood or wormwood. Bitter waters. Thank you for watching. So long. That's the name.
Living Torah, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. I sing out with praise to you. Your name is beautiful to me, my King. I sing out with praise to you. My heart desires to honor you, my Yah. I sing out with praise to you, Yahusha. Living Torah, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Yahusha, living water, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. Yahusha, living water, Baruch haba b'Shem